All right, ready to dive into Zen Technologies.
Sounds good.
We've got a ton of info here, annual reports, patent filings, the whole 9 yards. And the mission here is to really try to understand this defense tech player.
Right.
Domestic, international, drones, simulators, you name it.
Yeah, it seems like they're at a really fascinating intersection
Yeah.
between traditional defense and this new wave of tech-driven solutions.
Absolutely. And they're not just riding the wave, they're putting up some pretty serious numbers.
Yeah.
167% year-over-year revenue growth in FY24.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's not just growth, that's a rocket launch.
Yeah, definitely grabs your attention.
For sure.
Now, a big chunk of that revenue, about 80%, comes from domestic markets.
Yeah.
Which makes sense given India's focus on modernizing its defense.
Make in India.
Yeah, make in India.
Exactly. But what about that other 20%?
Right.
That international slice.
Yeah.
They had 0 exports in Q4 of FY24. That's after having strong international growth earlier in the year.
Interesting.
It throws a wrench in things a little bit, doesn't it?
It does raise some questions.
Yeah.
Could be temporary, maybe production caught up with demand, or perhaps they're shifting gears,
Yeah.
Focusing on a big international push for the next fiscal year.
Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely something to watch.
So we've got this big revenue picture.
Okay.
Let's zoom in a little bit.
Right.
How does that revenue break down? What's the mix between their different business segments?
Well, the lion's share, around 92%, comes from equipment sales.
Okay.
This is where their cutting-edge training simulators and anti-drone systems
Makes sense.
really shine.
Those are their flagship products, the ones grabbing headlines.
Exactly.
But they also have those annual maintenance contracts.
Yes.
The AMCs,
Right.
not as flashy, but
Sure.
probably a nice steady income stream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AMCs currently contribute about 8% of their revenue. It's a smaller piece of the pie,
Yeah.
but it provides that predictable revenue flow, which is really valuable for a company in a sector like defense, which can be unpredictable.
Of course. And I remember from the articles you sent me,
Yeah.
there was talk of Zen Technologies wanting to scale up their AMC business even further.
That's right. They're aiming to generate enough AMC revenue to cover their fixed operating costs. That would create a kind of financial safety net.
Yeah.
Ensure a certain level of baseline income regardless of fluctuations in equipment sales. Makes sense.
Okay. Let's talk profitability.
Okay.
43% EBITDA margin in FY24.
Wow.
That's not just good, that's stellar.
That's fantastic.
They must be doing something right on the cost optimization front.
They're definitely running a tight ship.
Yeah. That
EBITDA margin is a strong indicator of operational efficiency.
For sure.
And their profit after tax saw a massive jump to 243% year-on-year growth. Clearly, their growth isn't just about revenue. It's translating into real profit.
So revenue's up, profit's up. It's all roses, right?
Right.
Well, not so fast.
Haha.
They've set this ambitious target of a 50% CAGR.
Compound annual growth rate.
Over the next 3 years, is that even realistic? Can they maintain this pace?
It's a bold target, no doubt.
Yeah.
But remember, the defense sector, especially in India, is experiencing significant growth. Plus, Zen Technologies has a demonstrated ability to execute and deliver.
Right.
So while challenging, it's not entirely out of reach.
Okay, so they've got the momentum.
They do.
But what about the fuel for future growth?
Right.
Let's peek into their order book.
Okay.
What kind of order inflow are they expecting in FY25?
They're projecting a sizable inflow, somewhere between 1,200 and 1,300 crore.
Wow.
And that's not even counting potential new contracts that could come through during the year.
Okay, now we're talking some serious money.
Yeah.
But where's all this demand coming from?
Well, on the global front,
Yeah.
there's a surge in demand for anti-drone systems.
Right.
Drones are being used everywhere these days. The need for effective countermeasures is growing rapidly.
Makes sense.
Domestically, the market for training simulators is booming.
Yep.
It's estimated to be worth over 15,000 crore.
Wow.
And Zen Technologies, with their cutting-edge tech, is well-positioned to grab a big chunk of that.
So they've got this perfect storm brewing.
Yeah.
Strong domestic demand, growing global interest in their niche products, and a proven track record. It's like they're printing money.
Right. But it's not just about fulfilling existing demand.
Right.
They're also heavily investing in R&D to stay ahead of the curve.
Up?
They've got a dedicated R&D facility in Hyderabad, recognized by the Ministry of Science and Technology.
That's a clear signal that they're not resting on their laurels.
Exactly.
They're actively looking to innovate and develop new products.
Exactly. And this commitment to innovation is reflected in their intellectual property portfolio.
Okay.
They hold over 155 patents.
155 patents.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Incredibly impressive for a company of their size.
It's a treasure trove.
It is.
What are some of the areas they're focusing on with all this R&D?
Well, they've got their fingers in a lot of pies.
Okay.
Their latest patent is for a TZS, laser bore sighting system.
Got it.
This technology ensures that a weapon system sights are perfectly aligned with its barrel. Leading to more accurate and effective targeting.
So basically, they're making their weapons even more precise.
Yeah.
I can see why that would be in high demand.
Right.
What else is cooking in their R&D labs?
They're developing some really cutting-edge stuff.
Like what?
Like RoboDog.
RoboDog?
Yeah. Prahasta, which sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
What is that?
It's designed for mission planning and threat assessment.
Interesting.
Using advanced robotics and AI.
Okay.
And then there's Stab 640.
Stab 640.
A rugged stabilized sight for armored vehicles, infantry combat vehicles, even boats.
Wow. Okay. I'm officially impressed.
Yeah.
Zen Technologies is not messing around when it comes to innovation.
Nope.
But all this high-tech development has to be expensive.
Right.
How's their financial situation looking?
Yeah.
Can they afford to fund all this R&D while also pursuing international expansion?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us into the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
Let's take a closer look at their financials, their debt situation.
Yeah.
Liquidity and cash flow trends to see if they have the financial muscle to back up their ambitions.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Welcome back to our deep dive into Zen Technologies.
We left off talking about Zen Technologies' ambitious plans for R&D and global expansion.
Right.
But can they really afford all this? Let's dig into their financials and see if they have the financial firepower to back up these big dreams.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
Innovation and expansion don't come cheap. So let's start by examining their debt situation. Are they swimming in loans, or are they managing things responsibly?
Give it to me straight.
Okay.
What's the verdict on their debt?
Well, the good news is Zen Technologies seems to have a pretty healthy financial foundation.
Okay.
They're not drowning in debt and appear to be managing their liabilities quite prudently.
Okay.
They've utilized a mix of financial instruments, including working capital facilities, vehicle loans, and something called compulsory convertible debentures.
Compulsory convertible debentures.
Or CCDs for short.
CCDs.
Yeah.
Those sound a bit complicated.
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
Okay.
What are those all about?
CCDs are kind of like a hybrid between debt and equity.
Okay.
They start as debt, but they have this built-in clause that forces them to convert into equity shares after a certain period.
So it's like debt that transforms into ownership.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
How does that impact Zen Technologies financially?
Well, it's a clever way to raise capital without immediately diluting shareholder equity.
Okay.
Initially, CCDs carry an interest obligation, just like regular debt.
Right.
But once they convert into equity,
Yeah.
they actually strengthen the company's financial position.
So they're strategically using a mix of debt and equity to fuel their growth.
Yeah.
Smart.
Pretty smart.
But what about their short-term situation?
Right.
Do they have enough cash on hand to cover their immediate bills?
That's another positive sign.
Okay.
Their liquidity position seems quite healthy.
Good.
They've got enough cash and cash equivalents along with other short-term assets to comfortably cover their current liabilities.
So no imminent cash crunches.
Right.
That's good to hear. But what about the long-term picture? Are they generating enough cash from their operations to support their growth plans?
Their cash flow from operations has been consistently positive.
That's good.
Which is a great sign.
Yeah.
It means their core business is generating enough cash to cover not only their day-to-day expenses, but also their investments.
So they're not just relying on external funding or financial gymnastics to keep the lights on.
No.
They're actually making money from their core business.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that positive cash flow is essential for sustainable growth.
Makes sense.
It gives them the flexibility to invest in R&D
Yeah.
expand their operations, and pursue those ambitious international opportunities
Right.
we discussed earlier.
All right, so we've established they've got a solid financial base.
Right.
Now let's circle back to their international expansion strategy.
Okay.
They're eyeing the Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
Africa, and those CIS countries, right?
They are.
But how are they planning to crack those markets?
Yeah.
Especially when they're up against established global defense giants.
They're playing to their strengths,
No.
focusing on those areas where they have a clear competitive edge,
Okay.
training simulation and anti-drone systems.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a solid track record in these areas, and they're adapting their offerings to meet the specific needs of each target market.
So they're not just trying to force fit their existing products into new markets.
Exactly.
They're actually doing their homework.
Yes.
And tailoring their approach.
They understand that a one-size-fits-all strategy won't cut it in the global defense industry.
Of course.
Each region has its unique requirements.
Right.
And Zen Technologies is being smart about customizing their solutions to match.
But breaking into new markets is about more than just having the right products.
You're right.
It's about building relationships and navigating the complexities of international business. Are they partnering with local companies or governments to smooth the way?
Strategic partnerships are absolutely key to their international strategy.
Yeah.
They're actively seeking collaborations with local players in each region.
Got it.
These partnerships can help them gain local knowledge,
Right.
navigate regulatory hurdles, and most importantly, build trust with potential customers.
It makes a lot of sense sometimes having a trusted local partner can make all the difference when you're trying to enter a new market.
Absolutely. And these partnerships go beyond just market access.
Yeah.
They also provide valuable insights into regional customer preferences and emerging trends.
Okay.
Zen Technologies is clearly in it for the long haul,
Yeah.
building relationships that can pay dividends for years to come.
Now, we've touched upon government policies, but I want to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
How are those Make in India initiatives and other defense reforms actually playing out on the ground for Zen Technologies?
Yeah.
Are they really seeing tangible benefits?
These policies are definitely having a positive impact. Make in India and Manarbard Farhat are creating a much more favorable environment for homegrown defense companies like Zen Technologies.
So they're basically riding this wave of national self-reliance in defense.
Precisely. And this shift in policy translates into real advantages for Zen Technologies.
Like what?
Well, the government is prioritizing procurement from Indian companies, and defense spending is on the rise.
So there's more money to go around.
Right. That creates a massive opportunity for a company like Zen Technologies,
Right.
which is already at the forefront of innovation in its field.
It sounds like they're in the right place at the right time.
It does?
But how is this impacting their prospects internationally?
Right.
I mean, does Make in India help or hurt them when they're competing for contracts in other countries?
It actually helps.
Right.
India's growing emphasis on defense manufacturing is boosting its reputation as a reliable and capable defense partner.
Okay.
This enhanced credibility on the global stage opens doors for Indian defense companies like Zen Technologies.
So they're benefiting from India's rising global clout.
Exactly.
Interesting. But how do specific policies like the Defense Acquisition Procedure 2020
Okay.
and the Defense Production and Export Promotion Policy 2020 play into all of this?
Well, the DAP 2020 introduces a new category called Indigenously Designed, Developed, and Manufactured,
Okay.
or IDDM. This category gives preference to Indian companies in defense procurement,
Okay.
which is obviously a huge win for Zen Technologies in the domestic market.
So they're getting a double boost.
Yeah,
Increased spending, A&D preferential treatment.
exactly.
Nice. What about that export promotion policy? How does that factor in?
The DPTPP 2020 is all about boosting defense exports.
Right.
And it sets a pretty ambitious target, $5 billion in defense exports by 2025.
Wow.
This policy creates a very supportive environment for companies like Zen Technologies to expand their footprint globally.
So it's not just talking. The government is actually putting concrete policies in place to support the growth of companies like Zen Technologies, both domestically and internationally.
Exactly. They recognize the importance of a strong domestic defense industry.
Yeah.
Not just for national security, but also for economic growth and technological advancement.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Financials, growth strategy, government policies. But there's one more crucial aspect we need to examine before we wrap up our deep dive.
Oh, really?
And that's corporate governance.
Ah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
In today's world, investors and customers are increasingly focused on a company's ethical practices
yeah,
and commitment to transparency.
of course.
So let's take a look at Zen Technologies' track record in this area.
Okay, what can you tell me about their corporate governance practices? Are they the squeaky clean good guys, or are there any red flags?
From the information we have, they seem committed to maintaining high standards of corporate governance.
Oh,
Their board of directors includes a good mix of executive and independent directors,
uh-huh.
which ensures both operational expertise and independent oversight.
That's a good sign.
Yeah,
It suggests they're not just a one-man show.
right.
They've got a diverse group of people at the helm,
Exactly.
providing guidance and holding each other accountable.
And they've also got a well-defined corporate social responsibility, or CSR policy.
Okay.
This demonstrates their commitment to ethical and sustainable business practices,
Yeah.
which is something that's increasingly important to stakeholders.
So they're not just focused on the bottom line. They're also taking their social and environmental responsibilities seriously.
Right.
That's a big plus in my book. Anything else noteworthy in their track record?
It's worth mentioning that one of their subsidiaries, Unistring Tech Solutions Private Limited,
Okay.
has some contingent liabilities related to tax matters.
Contingent liabilities. Explain that to me like I'm five.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Think of it as potential financial obligations that might pop up depending on how certain events play out.
Okay.
In this case, we're talking about tax disputes.
Okay.
Now, the management of Zen Technologies believes they have strong grounds to contest these claims, but it's still something to keep an eye on.
So potential risk factor, but they're confident they can handle it.
Seems like it.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've analyzed the financials, dissected their growth strategy, scrutinized their corporate governance.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? What does the future hold for Zen Technologies?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
So we've explored Zen Technologies, inside and out their financials, their ambitious growth strategy, even their commitment to ethical practices. But the big question remains, what's next? Can they really maintain this incredible momentum and transform themselves into a global defense tech powerhouse?
Well, predicting the future is always a risky business,
Yeah.
especially in a field as dynamic as defense technology. But based on everything we've uncovered,
Yeah.
I'd say there are some pretty clear signposts pointing towards their potential trajectory.
All right, let's put on our prognostication hats.
Okay.
What are the key factors that will determine whether Zen Technologies sinks or swims in the years ahead?
First and foremost, their ability to sustain innovation.
Oh,
They can't just rely on their existing product line. You know, the defense technology landscape is constantly evolving with
Needs-
new threats and new opportunities emerging all the time.
makes sense.
They need to keep pushing the boundaries of R&D, investing in cutting-edge technologies like AI, robotics, advanced materials.
So basically keep those R&D labs humming with activity.
Yeah, that's exactly.
What else should they be focusing on?
Global expansion is crucial.
Okay.
They've made some initial inroads into international markets,
Yeah.
but they need to double down on their efforts, you know?
So it's not just about winning a few contracts here and there.
Right.
It's about building a sustainable global presence,
Exactly.
becoming a brand that's recognized and trusted worldwide.
Uh-uh.
Easier said than done right.
It definitely takes time and commitment,
Yeah.
and they need to be prepared for the inevitable bumps in the road.
Oh, yeah, of course.
As they expand globally, they'll face new challenges,
Yeah.
from geopolitical uncertainties to supply chain disruptions to fierce competition from established players.
Right. The bigger they get, the bigger the target.
Exactly.
So they need to be agile and adaptable,
Yeah.
able to pivot their strategy quickly
Right.
in response to changing market dynamics.
Right. And they can't lose sight of the financials either.
Of course not.
Yeah.
All this makes sense, but let's be honest. The defense sector is notoriously fickle, influenced by factors that are often beyond a company's control.
For sure.
Government policies, global conflicts,
Yeah.
budget cuts.
Right.
How can Zen Technologies navigate this unpredictable landscape?
They need to be incredibly strategic and proactive,
Anyway.
anticipating potential shifts in the political and economic landscape,
Yeah.
building strong relationships with policymakers,
Uh-huh.
staying informed about emerging trends, and diversifying their product portfolio can help mitigate some of these risks.
Okay, so we've outlined the challenges and opportunities.
Right.
But what's your gut feeling? What's your overall assessment of Zen Technologies' long-term prospects? Are you feeling bullish, bearish, or somewhere in between?
Based on everything we've seen, I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
They've got a lot going for them, a strong track record, innovative technologies, a supportive government,
Yeah.
a growing global demand for their products.
Yeah.
But they also face some significant challenges, particularly in maintaining this breakneck pace of growth and navigating the complexities of the global defense market.
So a qualified thumbs up.
Yeah.
The ingredients for success are all there, but they need to execute flawlessly.
Yeah,
There's no room for complacency.
exactly. They need to stay focused, adaptable,
Yeah.
and laser focused on their strategic goals.
Okay.
If they can do that, I believe they have the potential to become a major force in the global defense technology industry.
All right, so it's a wait-and-see situation.
I think so.
But what's fascinating about Zen Technologies' story is that it's not just about one company's ambitions.
Right?
It's also a reflection of India's broader aspirations in the defense sector.
That's a great point. They're riding this wave of India's push for self-reliance or beyond their balance sheet.
Right.
It will be a testament to India's ability to compete and innovate on the global stage.
So it's a story with high stakes and global implications. It'll be fascinating to follow their journey and see how it all unfolds well. I think we've officially reached the bottom of this deep dive. We've explored every nook and cranny of Zen Technologies,
Yeah.
from their revenue streams to their global ambitions.
Yeah.
We've examined their strengths and weaknesses, their opportunities and threats. We've crunched the numbers, analyzed their strategies, and even pondered their ethical practices. Now armed with all this knowledge,
Yeah.
it's up to you to decide whether Zen Technologies is a company you want to keep on your radar.
And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to dig deeper, explore those source materials we mentioned, and form your own conclusions.
Because that's what the deep dive is all about, equipping you with the knowledge and insights to navigate the complex world of business and technology.
Absolutely.
This deep dive is complete. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.
Sounds good.